Hamilton Morales, and he is a living, breathing encyclopedia of Social Security rules and regulations. And you're so fortunate because I have him for the entire show today, and we will be talking about all the changes that go into effect with the Social Security benefits starting April the 29th. You know, I say Hamilton is a encyclopedia. He really is. He's the expert's expert, and I use him. I am very fortunate because I am the only advisor on this radio station that has access to Hamilton, and I use him when I get stumped. When some of you bring me questions that even I don't know the answer to, and trust me, that doesn't happen often, but it does happen, I turn to Hamilton, and I'll just give you a point in fact. A couple weeks ago, I had a zinger come at me. So I called Hamilton up, and he just rattled the answer right off. So that's why I kind of coined him the living, breathing encyclopedia of Social Security rules and regulations. But before we get to Hamilton, let me start this show out like I always do and thank all of our men and women serving in the armed forces for all the sacrifices that they go through for us. We really appreciate everything that you do in the military. Very, very much so. And I'm going to do just a very, very quick market update today because I want to get right to Hamilton because these changes are incredibly important, and you guys only have a very short window of opportunity to take advantage of some of these changes. So the market's in rally mode right now. As I told you a few weeks ago, I expected that, and I gave you some targets for it. And we're right there at the first target, which is around Dow 17.5. And what I want you to look for is the kind of the rollover or the petering out effect, if you will. Once this thing rolls over, I think it's time to seriously consider an exit strategy. And because I don't think it's going to go back to new highs. I think we're done with that. If you look at the charts, we're definitely, to me, looks like we're headed into the bear market phase. So once we roll back over, I think we go back and we challenge the January lows and possibly even go lower on into the developing bear market. So if you're interested in talking to me about any of this stuff, call us at the office at 336-391-3409. Now, let me bring Hamilton in here so we can talk about these changes that go into to effect April the 29th. Hamilton, welcome to the Wealth Guardian Show.
Thanks, Doug. It's great to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you. I really am. You know, I've used you several times in the past for some of these zingers that get thrown at me, and you truly are a vital resource. But we all had a zinger thrown at us in the fall, didn't we?
Yes, we did. A big zinger.
So, you know, I've been to several different classes, workshops, and updates on the changes that occur. And while I got to say, probably 95% of the rules and regulations haven't changed.
Right.
The couple that did are dramatic. Why don't you, for our listeners, just kind of describe what's happened and when they take effect?
Sure. So, you know, this is not something that's new. We knew that our president wanted to get rid of these things that he calls unintended loopholes that were put into law back during the Clinton era. And he's been trying to get rid of it for quite a while now, and the biggest reason is, and you know how politics works, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, they're going to use class warfare, and he did the same thing and said that, only the rich people get to take advantage of it, which I completely disagree with. And I've got so many cases where I can show that these people were very much not rich, that were able to take care of some of these strategies. So basically what happened, and again, like I said, you know how politics work. When they get into a session together, it's you scratch my back, I scratch yours, I'll give you this if you give me that. And so what ended up happening is in late October of 2015, under the cover of darkness, I like to say, the Congress decided to pass what's called the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015. And inside that Budget Act is Section 831. And in Section 831, it deals specifically with these, what we call the unintended loopholes file and suspend a restricted application, and basically said, we're going to get rid of them. Now, they're not both going away at the same time, and the one that's actually coming up here real quick is the file and suspend, and that one's actually going to end as of April 29th. Now, that doesn't mean you can't suspend your benefits. You are more than welcome to suspend your benefits at any time and get the 8% delayed retirement credits. And I say anytime after your full retirement age. The issue is that if you do suspend your benefit after the April 29th deadline, if there's any spousal benefits that are being taken off of your work record and you suspend your payments, not only will those payments be suspended, but any spousal benefits off of your work record will also be suspended. So it's a pretty big gotcha on that.
Now, Hamilton, I want to just kind of interject here. If you just joined us, I've got Hamilton Morales with me on today's Wealth Guardian show. Hamilton is the expert's expert on Social Security benefits. We're talking about an upcoming change that's happening very quickly. And I wanted to invite you to a Social Security workshop that I'm having on March the 15th and March the 17th at 6:30 p.m., and it's going to specifically address these changes. You folks who are 66 and older and have not filed for benefits yet have until April the 29th to get yourself grandfathered into what was a spectacular benefit. So remember the date, March 15th and March 17th. And by the way, Hamilton's going to be with me at these workshops, and here's what I'm going to do for you. The first 10 who call to register for these workshops, the first 10 each, and I expect these workshops to fill up, I'm going to reserve the front row for you, okay? Call us at 336-391-3409. That's 336-391-3409. You know, Hamilton, you're exactly right. I have helped a lot of people to get extra benefits here in the last 4 years, and they're not, 99% of them are not the rich fat cats.
Oh, that absolutely. In fact, I would dare to say that we could even go so far as to say that if they are really rich, they could care less about these Social Security options for claiming strategies because, in their mind, it's such a very, very small part of their overall income or assets. They could really care less. Whereas people who are not considered rich, where this is maybe 20, 30, 40% of their income that's coming in, it does make a huge difference in their income. And so it's really unbelievable that you know, they play this class warfare to get things done. And at the end of the day, it just really comes down to money. That's really all there is to it.
Well, it is. And I want to go over a case that I just built here in the last week that actually takes advantage of the new benefits. We've got Dick and Jane. They're 62 and 63. And Dick's full retirement age benefit is $2,696 a month. Jane's is $1,320, and of course that's because she took a lot of time out of the workforce to raise a family. Here's what will happen if they can do this before the year 2019. At full retirement age, Jane is going to start her benefits of $1,320. That's at age 66. Then Dick can come in and file a restricted application for his spousal benefit of $660. Then at age 70, Dick is going to switch to his own benefit, which has been getting those 8% delayed credits of approximately $3,559. And at age 70, Jane is going to switch to spousal benefits of $1,348. Now, if you're listening to this, I know that's a lot of mumbo jumbo. Let me tell you the bottom line. Here's the difference. If they both filed for benefits right now, then basically that means they would collect over their lifetime $200,000 less than if they filed the way I just described. If they both wait till their full retirement age to file, then they're going to collect $100,000 less than the strategy I just described. So in other words, if you come in to see me, if you come to our workshop on March the 15th and the 17th, you're going to learn a strategy that may put between $100,000 and $200,000 extra of Social Security benefits into your pocket. It's amazing how this can still work even with the changes.
Well, that's a great segment right into the second change, which is the restricted application. You know, that one's less severe than the file and suspend. So, you know, with the restricted application, basically if an individual was age 62 or older as of January 1st, 2016, they're grandfathered in. Now, they still have to wait until they hit full retirement age before they can file the restricted application, but at least they're grandfathered in. And so that one's a lot less severe and goes right into the case that you just talked about that enables us to be able to do some of these claiming strategies. And a side note, you know, some people say, well, how come he didn't file? Because he had the higher of the two and let her file restricted against him. And the reason for that, and it's something that in our planning and what we try to do when we're talking with people is that when we look at a married couple, we always want to take the higher of the two benefits, and we want to try to grow that benefit as high as we possibly can, i.e. take advantage of the delayed retirement credits. So in this particular case, Dick is the one that had the higher of the two benefits, so we want to grow that as much as we possibly can, not only just for him, but what happens if he predeceases Jane? Jane takes over his benefits, so we want that as high as we possibly can, and that's a big part of the planning that we do.
That's exactly right, and we're going to have to take a break now, but when we come back, Hamilton, I'm going to ask you to address the changes that may have occurred with the divorcees and the widows out there, because we've helped a whole lot of those folks. You're listening to the Wealth Guardians right here on 94.5 WPTI, the Piedmont's news, talk, and sports station. And you're back with the Wealth Guardians. My name's Doug Ray. Today I've got Social Security expert Hamilton Morales with me, and we're talking about the changes in Social Security benefits that effective April the 29th. And I need to really emphasize this point, and I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. The first window of opportunity closes April 29th for you folks who are 66 years and older who have yet to file for your benefits. If that's you, if that's your category, I beg you, I urge you to get some information. We're offering a free workshop on March the 15th at 6:30 p.m., March the 17th at 6:30 p.m. Hamilton will be there with me to answer questions, and it's not just for you folks who are 66 and older who haven't filed. It's pretty much for anybody. Here's the second window of opportunity. If you were 62 by December the 31st or older, you have an opportunity that will close in 2019 to be able to file an enhanced claiming strategy. And you need to know about that, because as I gave my case study in the first segment, I've got a couple I'm working with right now that increased their Social Security benefit over $100,000 from filing the wrong way. So you need to know about that. Again, it's March 15th and 17th. Again, for the first 10 callers into this show who want to reserve a seat, I'm going to put you on the front row so you have complete access to us. Call us at 336-391-3409. You know, Hamilton, I may have scared them away by putting them on the front row, because I remember nobody likes to sit on the front row.
I promise I won't pick on them.
You know, I learned in college, though. I always sat in the back in college, but one professor told me that most all the A's are given to the people who sit on the front row. And when I did that, guess what happened?
All of a sudden.
Amazing. Oh, hey, listen. Let's get into the effect on widows and divorcees, because I'll tell you,
Sure.
that's a group right there that, you know, I have taken a lot of pride in being able to help, especially the widows out there. And you know, just let's kind of talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Well, before I do that, I just wanted to mention a couple things on something you said earlier. You know, people who are at full retirement age or older that have not turned on their benefit. You know, whether they've turned their benefit on or not is irrelevant, because even if they've turned their benefit on, as long as they are at least full retirement age or older, there's some stuff we can still do. They can still do a voluntary suspension prior to April 29th and collect those 8% retirement credits if they want. So that's something to keep in mind, too, as well. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention real quick is, you know, we're talking about these claiming strategies and, you know, being able to put an extra $200,000 in your pocket based off of your life expectancy. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to their income plan and whether it makes sense for them or not. And you know, we certainly don't know what's the best strategy for those individuals based off of their situation. And that's why we got to take those numbers, plug it into an income plan and say, all right, how does this affect them long term? Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? So I just wanted to throw that in there real quick. Yes, widows and divorcees. Yeah, the good news, I would say, was as it relates to widows, is nothing's changed from that standpoint. They didn't make any changes to the widow's benefits or anything like that. So that's fabulous news. What's not so fabulous about that is, you know, there are still people out there that don't realize that they can get widow's benefits. It's amazing to me that I will get a phone call from a financial rep that I help out across the country, and inevitably he'll have somebody that, you know, the lady was a homemaker, never, you know, really worked much outside the home. She never earned her 40 credits, so she doesn't qualify for her own benefits. Her husband passed away, and in her mind, she thinks she doesn't qualify to get any benefits because she never hit her 40 credits. And that's just so far from the truth. And so, you know, I think it's my goal, it's your goal to educate as many people as we possibly can, to help as many people as we possibly can from that happening too. So as far as widows' benefits are concerned, nothing's changed there. You can take them as early as age 60. If you're not disabled, if you are disabled, as early as age 50. If you've got a child under the age of 16 living in your house, you can still get a caregiver benefit in the event of a death. You know, while you're caring for that child, once the child hits 18 or 19, depending on when they graduate, that will go away for you. So, you know, that's people need to know what the rules are as it relates to that. And we're actually dealing with the case right now where the lady thinks they're telling her she can't get widow's benefits. I've actually read the letter from Social Security, and I can't tell whether she does qualify or she doesn't. The wording is so strange. And so, based off of what she's told me, I'm like, you completely qualify for sort of widow's benefits. I don't know why you haven't gotten them yet. But anyway, and that's something that we can help people navigate through, which I think is important. They need to have somebody they can rely on to help walk them through that process, because I promise you, Social Security, for the most part, will not walk through that with you. They are order takers, and they will take what you tell them and tell you whether or not you can do it, and sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong.
You know, Hamilton, like you, I've been very surprised at the number of widows and divorcees that don't know that there's benefits out there, especially the divorcees. There's quite a few of those. Now, if you just joined us today on the Wealth Guardian Show, I've got Hamilton Morales with me. We're talking about the changes that will come into effect in Social Security benefits. It's just a matter of weeks. The government's going to put an end to some of the significant Social Security claiming strategies. And these strategies meant thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars in additional benefits right in your pocket. Party's over, folks. The good news is, though, There's still time to be grandfathered in, but it's just a few weeks away. It's less than 60 days now. How will the new Social Security rules impact you, and what action should you take before time runs out? Get those answers at our free educational Social Security workshop on Tuesday, March 15th, Thursday, March 17th. This event is free. Hamilton will be there with me, and we're going to fill this event up, folks. But I have saved a handful of seats right there on the front row for you, the listener of this show today. So all you've got to do is call us at 336-391-3409 to guarantee your seat. Remember this, it's your money. Learn how to get back every nickel that's rightfully yours. 336-391-3409. That's 336-391-3409. You know, Hamilton, I think one of the things that I really saw that when this rule first came out about, the claiming strategy changes is who it really affects in the long run. Mm-hmm. In the long run, it's going to be the survivor. And in our society, we know 70% of the time that's going to be the widow.
Right.
And if you think about what the surviving spouse gets, they get the higher of the two Social Security benefits. The file and suspend, the claiming strategy allowed the higher income workers' benefit to accrue more delay credits and cost of living adjustments, in effect passing on the biggest survivor benefit. And I think if you look in our society today, we have a whole lot of widows out there that are financially challenged. And being able to collect that larger benefit has been, a godsend to them. And I don't, right. when these lawyers and congressmen and the president himself make these vast changes, I don't think they think about the unintended consequence.
Mm-mm. I don't think they do at all. They're just looking at the bottom line.
Well, the bottom line was what? This was going to save $90 billion or something like that?
Well, the interesting thing about it is when you look at who is actually taking advantage of these claiming strategies, the percentage is 0.02%.
Yeah, it's a spit in the ocean.
Maybe they're looking down the road and saying, oh, it's going to be much bigger, but right now it's not very big.
No, it's really not. It's really not. But again, I want to emphasize the window of opportunity. It shuts April the 29th for you folks who are full retirement age and above if you have not started your benefit. And Hamilton, the reason I say that a lot is because I know there are things we can do for those who have started their benefit. They can, if they're under 70, they can certainly suspend and then pick up delay credits from that. What happens on our show a lot of times is people will be driving down the road and they'll hear snippets of it, and especially if I'm emphasizing these changes, and maybe they've been collecting for 5 years or 10 years. Well, they get excited and panicked, and they'll call in and say, how's it, has it affected me? And I got to say, no, you're fine, you're okay. It's just for this subset of people who haven't started claiming yet.
It's true.
But, we do have a very short window, and I've got to emphasize that. So if you haven't looked into this, if you haven't been to any of my workshops in the past, if you haven't sat down and chatted with me about how this could affect you, please call us at 336-391-3409. Hamilton's exactly right. It's not right for everybody. When I do your entire retirement income plan, it may not work for you. Your goals may be different. For example, your goal may be to retire at 62, and in order for that to happen, we have to take Social Security early. So everybody's not different. Hamilton, last words.
Last words. We didn't really get into the divorcees, but, for the most part, the only piece that's going to affect divorcees is going to be the restricted application. So as long as that person is 62 years of age or older as of January 1st, 2016, they're going to be grandfathered in. There's other rules that apply to that situation that have always been on the books, and we'll definitely be covering that in the seminar as well. So for those people that are interested in that, they need to be there.
All righty. Remember, March 15th, March 17th, 6:30 p.m., both Hamilton and I will be there to answer every conceivable question you can throw at us. Take advantage of it. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the Wealth Guardian Show on 94.5 WPTI, the Piedmont's news, talk, and sports station. And Hamilton, thank you so much for being our guest today.
It was a pleasure.